So in this video, we're going to teach a down. Just like we did in the sit video, we're going to start with a food lure. And in fact, for most behaviors that require your dogs to move their body in space, in the very early stages, it'll start with a food lure. So here we're using the food lure. We're also going to use our yes or our marker word. I have my treat in direct contact with her nose. I'm bringing my hand closer to the ground. Yes! And here, Elle knows what I'm going to teach her is down, but for a dog that has zero idea of what's going on, they might be a little bit uncertain. As we're luring them down to the ground and they start to get closer and closer to the ground, sometimes they pop up or they feel like they're slipping, so they stop and they quit the training activity. What we're going to do, if that's the case, is reward them at an approximation of the behavior, or as the elbows start to bend, I'm going to say yes and reward. The reason why I want to do that is because we are working toward a complete down, and sometimes that happens in steps. So first, just bend those elbows. After I'll do a few reps of that, I might look for a little bit more bend in the elbows, and then by the maybe 10th rep, I am not saying yes until the dog goes all the way down. So we're going to demonstrate that again. Ready? You'll also notice that I'm not saying down. We're pretending that Ellie doesn't know down. So by saying down and then doing the lure, it adds a lot of components that are unnecessary at the time. So what we're going to do is teach the behavior and then teach the name associated with that behavior. Yes, good girl. So again, we're not going for the entire behavior, just an approximation, just looking for bending in the elbows. Yes, and that is what should happen naturally. After we get several reps of bending in the elbows, eventually the dog goes, oh, well, it's just easier if I go all the way down. And then we capture with the marker word. Again, several reps of that. Once we get the behavior, then you can start pairing the word down with the training activity. And then eventually, you can get rid of the lure, okay? There are steps in the teaching a sit video that talk about how to fade out a food lure, from a food lure to an empty hand to just verbal cue.